All right, breaking news, breaking news. We take you to Alaska. Live look, Anchorage, Alaska on the coastline. Folks, there is a tsunami warning for thousands of Americans on the Alaskan coastline after they're saying a 7.3 earthquake rocked the area. So we're going to monitor the waterway here. Reason being is they expect a wall of water to come within the next few hours. We don't know what's going on here. There's alerts and warnings all coming up in Alaska here after a massive earthquake hit off the coast. It looks like it's a place called Sandpoint, Alaska. Sandpoint, Alaska. So we got cams. We're gonna get cam. We're gonna cam up. We're gonna watch, and we're gonna see firsthand to see if the water rises, the water gets choppy, if there's going to be a wall of water that might push up towards Anchorage. Even though this system was probably about 800 miles away, they are very, very, very concerned that it will push up into the Cook Inlet. The Cook Inlet. So we are monitoring this on JLR Investigates. Come on in. And we'll read up on the articles. We'll put some stuff on the screen. We got a ticker coming up at the bottom of the screen. Tsunami warnings. The U.S. Geological Survey, USGS, detected the quake around 4:30 p.m. Eastern, hitting in the Pacific coast just south of the Alaskan Peninsula. And we put 7.5. There's numbers out there, whether it's 7.5, 7.3, or 7.2. A lot of places have numbers between 7.2 and 7.5. So I just want to let you know, but we're going to get an understanding. And sometimes they lower the numbers or escalate the numbers. So come on in, folks. Come on in. AP got a story out. We're monitoring the water. That's what we're doing right now. This is a live feed right now in the Cook Inlet, where a wall of water is expected to happen anytime, very, very soon. And then we will see. Come on in. Come on in. The tsunami could hit coastal areas of southwestern Alaska, including communities from Kennedy Entrance near Homer to the Unimak Pass, with potential impact of Kodiak Island, the Alaskan Peninsula, and parts of the eastern Aleutian Islands. The wall of water could also go into the inlet here, which we are watching. We put up a feed, we found a feed, and now we are watching. It's a weight game here. You know, you're not going to get a lot of media in the area talking about this because, you know, it's very remote out there. This is a very remote part of Alaska. Looks like it is, yes, 7.3. 7.3. Some numbers are going around a little bit. Different media outlets have, some have 7.5, some have 7.2. We're going to say 7.3. I'm going to go with the AP. Early measurements put the quake's magnitude at 7.3. The U.S. Tsunami Center said the warning was in effect from about 40 miles southwest of Homer, a distance of about 700 miles. Among the larger community areas in Kodiak, which has a population of 5,200 people. And I see a lot of people in the chat. Welcome, folks. JLR Investigates. We're monitoring the coastline of Alaska here. Tsunami warning. Tsunami warning. So until the tsunami warning goes away, we're not going away. We're going to be here to monitor situations. Sometimes the water takes a while to get, usually a few hours, but I would think if they don't get anything within the next few hours, they're going to probably cancel this, maybe not. It is 54 miles south of Sand Point. We are a live feed in Alaska covering the situation. Confirmed tsunami headed towards Alaska after massive earthquake. Okay, so Fox News is saying confirmed tsunami. Confirmed. So we're gonna see. And then if we get more footage, we'll continue to share. This is a channel. Share what you have to say. Put it in the chat. I see a lot of people piling in. Another crazy weather event, folks. We've been covering the weather all across the country with the floods all across the country. Now we have an earthquake, massive earthquake. Fox News Weather puts out the alert. Massive magnitude 7.3 earthquake off the coast of a group of Alaska and Aleutian Islands has triggered a tsunami. They're saying confirmed tsunami. The National Weather Service, National Tsunami Warning Center said a tsunami was confirmed and impacts were expected along the coast. That's where we take you here to a location. This is we're going to see where this water, because if the wall of water pushes up through, we're gonna see for sure whether this comes all the way up towards Anchorage, Cook Inlet. But even if it doesn't reach somewhere else, we'll keep informing you of what's going on here, because they think a wall of water is going to push this way into southern Alaska. Now, I don't know if it's actually going to reach, go into the Gulf of Alaska and go south of Anchorage. I'm not sure. But we are basically from this distance, about 700 miles from the Kodiak Island area. Now, this is happening off the coast of Sand Point. But that water shelf is very narrow here. So who knows what this, where this tsunami water is and where it will go. So we're looking at a live look. The sky looks kind of, I don't know, ominous, an ominous sign off the Alaskan coast. Come on in. Continuous coverage of this tsunami warning. I know a lot of people are in the chat. Please stay in, and we will see. And post your info as you see fit. But we are watching the water. And we'll see if the water actually raises or not. Crazy chain of events going on right now. Tsunami warning for this area. All right, so Daily Mail puts out the article. Same thing that's being reported, 7.3. 7.3. Let's get some information about this. The interactive map saying that a tsunami 53.052 north, 155.95 southwest. It looks like it's just south of the Alaska Maritime National Wildlife Refuge. So we will see. We will see what happens here. We're looking in, we are in Cook Inlet in Alaska. Come on in by Anchorage, where this wall of water could reach within the next few hours. That's possibly a prediction. But there's numerous other coming. Like we heard Homer, Homer, H-O-M-E-R, if I'm saying that correctly, Homer. Little communities just to the south that are on alert right now. Homer, it's a little bit south of Anchorage. Actually was looking at cabins up there recently. Now, we'll see what the water does. We'll see where this goes here and continue to watch the water, folks. Maybe we'll also get a media report about exactly what has happened. But we're monitoring the water. If this thing's going to come. Is this stuff going to come or not? What we shall see. We shall see. See a lot of people in the chat. Welcome back. Welcome in. We shall see here. All right, continue to watch, continue to see. Tsunami warning. Let's see some of the top news stories that people are sharing. People are posting in a community of Seaward, Alaska. Got people evacuating in Seaward, Alaska. They're going up to a church in higher ground. There's clips and viral videos of Seaward, Alaska, with all the residents there. And let me see how far it is relative to where the tsunami came at Sandpoint. Seaward, Alaska. Yeah, see? Yeah. Crazy, folks. There's the communities just south of where we are here are all evacuating to high land higher up. A lot of these coastal communities are down by the water, but they're seeking to higher ground right now with this. Some are now reporting 7.6 online. They say 87 kilometers south of Sandpoint, Alaska. We shall see, and we'll keep putting the updates as they come through. It's kind of going to be like a depot spot for a while. We'll just see if the water hits or not. We shall see. We shall see. That's what we're going to do today. So we got a tsunami warning. They're saying confirmed tsunami. Sirens have been going off in different. So listen in here. We'll see what happens here. If it's going to happen, if this thing comes into the Cook Inlet, it's going to affect here. I can't tell if the water's going out a little bit or shallow, but we are actually have probably the best live feed right now in reference to a coastline. Here how the water's just like kind of like it's like maybe the calm before the storm here. Got the calm before the storm. Possibly. We shall see. We are watching the water. Will the tsunami hit or not? Yes, welcome. Thank you. Welcome to JLR Investigates. It's quiet. It's just quiet. We shall see. Oh, they even got a plane taking off, real time. Look at that. Well, that was interesting. Somebody's getting out of here. Isn't that interesting? Is the tsunami going to hit? That remains to be seen. Do we get a tsunami that actually hits? All right, we got a clip coming out of Seaward, Alaska. The evacuation in Seaward, Alaska. SEWARD. People are evacuating.
My first time back in Alaska in 25 years. We're in Seward.
Oh, Seward, sorry.
A tsunami warning. 7.2 earthquake. So we are all being evacuated to this church. Right, honey?
Yep.
Seward. Sounds like Seward. But look at this. They're all going up.
Do they have an ETA on the earthquake yet?
It's on its way.
So Seward, according to the map, light rain 55 degrees. It's in southern Alaska. So it's a little bit south of that where I was showing you the live feed in the water. It's on the other side of Cooper Landing.
Pray that we don't get waved.
He's over there. That Oakland Raiders fan is over there.
All right, so that's a video that's going out. Oh, there's a lot of the live feed now has a lot of boats going out in the water. What's going on here? Look like people are moving. Oh, look what they're doing is they're moving all the airplanes. They're getting the airplanes out of there. That's what they're doing. Quickly. I think that's what they're doing is getting these airplanes out of there. Right along the water. Dude, this water's getting a little bit more edgy, isn't it? Yo, that's what they're doing. I think they're moving the aircraft. We saw another aircraft just take off. We got one here. They were moving another one away. Now they got somebody out there on the bay there on the water. I think they know it's possible it could come here. Holy smokes. So I think we're going to see some activity around here possibly soon. They're saying confirmed tsunami. See, they got the airplanes so close to the water there. This water definitely looks more choppy than it was when we first started the feed. Are they air taxis? But lately, in the last 5 minutes, we've been seeing a lot of activity. We'll see. We'll see. It's definitely got more choppy, and people are saying that in the chat. I 100% agree with that. The water has gotten more and more choppy since we started. I'm reversing my live right now. Yeah, the water's gotten extremely more choppy. Think about this. You get a wall of water. Look, somebody's landing. Look at that. What? That's interesting. All right, so we're live, seeing if we're gonna get a tsunami or not. I don't know if these Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Robin. Robin Lynn Griffin. I knew I could come right to your channel and find the action. Thank you, JLR. Thank you. And Christy, thank you for that, Christy, too. Thank you. And S, welcome to JLR Investigates. Well, we don't know what's happening. All we know is there was an earthquake. Sandpoint, about 700 miles away here. However, the water in this area, tsunami warnings, just kind of seeing the situation here. Seward, which was a little bit south of here, they're all going up on the top of the hill to the church. Are people going to move around here? People moving. We'll see. I think this camera is pretty cool because it's showing us the action around the area, and I'm just monitoring the water. Monitoring the water. I haven't heard alarms. Have you heard alarms? Now, some of the feeds out there, they're playing alarms. They're telling people to evacuate with the alarms going off. I know people probably are on extreme high alert and edge right now in this area because of this tsunami warning in effect. I want to see him go back down towards the water. Air traffic control. Matter of fact, let me go on flight radar and see if the flight's all around there. I'm going to go to flight radar. I want to see what I can find up in the sky there. Let me see if we got a lot of helicopters or anything up in the area. Aircraft traffic control. You know, at one point, if we get towns that get underwater or anything like that, they're going to have to do a lot of air traffic. There is a lot of flights. You know what's interesting? If you look on Flight Radar 24, there are so many flights grounded up there. We are at the top of Cook Inlet, where areas of Alaska are under tsunami warning. We'll continue to see what is said. Hey, Jacob JO67. Jacob JO67, hello. Nice to see you in the chat. Thank you. Buying up on a budget says tsunamis don't cause choppy waters. They can cause a drop in the level or severe waves coming in all at once, also in phases. And the first wave is not usually the big one. Thank you, Buying on a Budget, for the information. This is a feed in Alaska, so we're just going to keep it on. It is live right there on the inlet. Looks like an airport, 2 planes taking off. And we'll continue to see what we end up getting here, if anything at all. It's just worth a look. Definitely worth a look. All right. According to Google, who put out alerts, a tsunami advisory. Has it been lowered to an advisory? Is now in effect. Is there different levels to it? Let me just see the difference between a tsunami advisory and a tsunami warning. Let me just put this out here because we were hearing all over the place. It's all over the place. Tsunami warning, tsunami warning. Tsunami alerts explain. Warnings mean dangerous coastal flooding and powerful currents possible. Move to higher ground or inland. Advisory, strong currents and waves dangerous to those in very near water possible. Stay out of water, away from beaches and waterways. So it's a little bit, I guess, downgraded a little bit between the warning and advisory. But they're saying confirmed tsunami. So we'll keep it there. We'll keep it here and see what happens. A lot of planes in the air, too. Yeah, a lot of the headlines. Tsunami warning. Now they're saying advisory. A lot of people are posting pictures of their family members saying they were out there hiking, praying for their safety. I guess because of that area doesn't have really good, strong cell phone reception when it's up there. As soon as you get down to those islands. They're saying a tsunami has been confirmed and some impacts are expected. To what extent? Don't know. People are saying confirmed tsunami moving into the Aleutians. Estimated time of arrival. All right, so these are some times. They're saying Sandpoint 1330 AKDT. Sandpoint 1330. Coal Bay 1425 AKDT. They're saying Kodiak 1440 AKDT. Just so people know. Let's see how far Kodiak is from Sandpoint. Yeah, so, all right. So if Kodiak is at 1440-ish, I would say it would be a little bit after that. It would possibly be up in the Cook Inlet. But how much time? I don't know. But if anyone can put in the chat, if you have it, anything you would like to add. Remember, this is along the Pacific Ring of Fire. I think some of these planes are going to land in the water. That plane looks like it's landing. All right, so people are already saying water levels in Raspberry Island, Alaska seem to have a significant drop after a large earthquake was recorded. Oh, yeah, man. This is crazy stuff. Water is receding in Raspberry Island. That has been confirmed by pictures. We will continue to see if the water goes up here in these locations. They land right in the water. Look. So Raspberry Island, which is the island, Kodiak Island. Better get out of that water. People better get out of that water, man. Seriously. We don't know what we're going to get here. That's why we're waiting to see if we get this tsunami or not. We wait and see. Happened around 12:38 Pacific, their time. Mr. B. Bao says 100% chance of not seeing a tsunami on Lake Hood. All right, Alaska News Source got a feed up. We're going to get something coming here in a second. Stand by. We're going to switch up, see what we got. Got a local media a little bit talking about it in Alaska. We'll see what they have to say, and we'll keep on this.
And so we're back here on our live formats. Thank you for your patience on Facebook and YouTube. You guys were not able to see the other side of the conversation, and I apologize for that. It was one of the limitations of our system here. So we do appreciate your patience on that. And, it looks like people, you guys are being really kind on Facebook, and we appreciate that. Kodiak is colored in advisory. Yes, Kodiak is in the advisory zone, as well as Cold Bay, Sandpoint, all the way down to Unimak Island, north of Unalaska. Unalaska is not included in the advisory zone. Neither is the Kenai Peninsula. It begins south of the Kenai Peninsula, a little bit north of Kodiak, and then down on the Pacific side. So the advisory is still a possibility, means the tsunami is still a possibility, but the risk of it going farther inland is much reduced. According to Dave Schneider, they have seen a tsunami in the area, and we are waiting for information from the Tsunami Warning Center for how big that possibly was. The indications were that it's not a large wave that has come through, but we are continuing to check on that information and see if there's any updates on that. At this point, there is still an advisory in place, so we still want people to be taking precautions. In particular, you want to stay off the beach, you want to stay out of the harbors, because there is still some form of an unusual wave, unusual currents that are possible. And Dave Schneider, again from the Tsunami Warning Center, said that there is a possibility of these unusual waves, unusual currents continuing for about 24 hours. So you want to continue to be cautious, at least for the next day, if you happen to be in those areas.
And we are getting new information on the aftershocks that have been generated. We have heard from some of you in that Sandpoint community, in and around Cold Bay as well, feeling the shaking, which probably feels as if it's gone nonstop from that initial earthquake that happened, again, just 12:37. It was a magnitude 7.3. That is a large earthquake that will cause, again, moderate to strong shaking. It was rather shallow. There we did have, but again, close to a dozen that have been magnitude 4.0 or greater. I see 4.2, 4.1, 4.1, another 4.2. And just here in the last 20 minutes, we have had a 4.4. So these aftershocks are ongoing. We do still have a tsunami advisory in place because of the threat from that tsunami, which has been generated. But fortunately, the good news is they're not expecting a large inundating wave. It is the coastal areas, the local coastline, the harbors, the beach there into the bays that you need to be prepared for impacts. That could be anything from waves coming in, smaller waves, but very unusual and erratic waves, to quick current changes. And that's why we stress it is so important to stay off from the beach, because you cannot really anticipate what that water is going to do when it hits the coastline. We've seen in the past that people wanted to go down and just look at it and see what it's like, what it's all about, and then they run into danger very quickly. So we do not want that situation. Yeah. Just stay off the beach until this is done. We will let you know as soon as we have the all clear from the Tsunami Warning Center. They're monitoring those buoys in real time. They're monitoring the water, and as soon as they go, okay, the water has settled back down following this earthquake, they will let us know, and then you can go back to normal operations.
Let's do one quick look again at some of the recommended actions for when there's a tsunami advisory. Again, it has been downgraded. The original was a tsunami warning, which is get to higher ground, get away, get into multi-story buildings. That's a risk of life and property. This is, you want to move off the water, get off the beach and away from the coast. You still have the possibility of those waves, multiple waves. They will be unusual for your area, and there could possibly be unusual currents, things that you don't expect. So you want to be extra cautious if you are near the water at this time. You want to move away from the water, and you want to, again, move inland or uphill. If you are on a boat and you can move out to sea, you want to go to a depth of at least 180 feet. This gives the boat time to adjust to the possibility of the waves. And then if you are at sea, please avoid entering shallow water or harbors, marinas, bays, and inlets. You want to stay at sea until the danger has passed.
And we did hear from the Coast Guard in Homer. They're telling us that they did evacuate the Coast Guard station on Kodiak. They're working to notify vessels that are in the water in that region. So they are working there in Kodiak to make sure that the harbor is safe. Again, they have evacuated the Coast Guard station there.
Kodiak evacuated the Coast Guard station at Kodiak. So we wanted to get that information out
Another
too.
statement that we have just gotten in is from Senator Sullivan on Facebook. He says, my team and I are closely monitoring the 7.3 magnitude earthquake near the Alaska Peninsula. Our prayers are with everyone, he says, affected because of the tsunami advisory. Mariners should be mindful over the next 24 hours of any unusual conditions. He is asking that people please take all necessary precautions, follow local guidance, and make sure that you're in a safe location. If you need assistance, to contact the local emergency services and they will get you help if you need it. Again, if you are unsure where you are, contact your local authorities there if you do need help. So again, this is just an ongoing situation. This is the tough spot where we are in a waiting game. And it's so hard because we've been through this many times with tsunami warnings and advisories in Alaska. And it is a very urgent and serious situation. And then we just have to wait. So we know that those waves have been generated. We do have the good news that the warning has been expired. This is a look at the, we do want to pull up what the aftershocks have been like. Again, we are continuing to see a number of aftershocks in the area. Magnitude 7.3 was the initial quake. 1237 is when that happened, 12 miles deep. But the reason we are waiting is because we know a tsunami's been generated. We know how large it is. They're tracking that information, but this just takes time to unfold, and they're not going to give the all clear until we know. And the tough thing is some of you will have evacuated. It will have completely changed your Wednesday plans. And then now all of a sudden you're doing something completely different. And then you go, wait, there was never a tsunami in my town. Why did I go through all of this hassle? Well, it takes some time for us to see where these waves are headed. So that's why we prepare for the worst, hope for the best in this situation. There is a tsunami. Again, that is not a question at this point. There is a tsunami. A series of waves has been generated because of the size and location of this earthquake. But again, it is not large enough that we're expecting widespread extreme inundation. So that's why it was downgraded, but the threat does still exist. That has not changed.
Right. We want to keep people alert and aware. In particular, Dave Schneider with the Tsunami Warning Center said in particular, this is a situation that coastal areas, beaches, harbors, inlets, this is where you want to stay away from the water because of those waves. We don't have specific specific heights yet, but we do know that they did receive buoy data that indicated that there are unusual waves in this area and that this could continue for about 24 hours. So you'll want to stay on alert, particularly if you're on the water. And of course, these are in many cases fishing communities. There are a lot of people with boats. There are a lot of people that are probably out on their boats at this time. So just please, everyone, be extra cautious. We're continuing to update and continuing to check the latest on the advisory.
And we just got this new information in a few minutes ago on the tsunami advisory still in effect for communities of Sand Point, Cold Bay, and Kodiak. They are still watching this information. So again, this has not been expired or canceled. It is still in place. This is specifically for those communities that we keep mentioning, Sand Point, Cold Bay, Alaska, within that tsunami warning zone or tsunami advisory zone at this place. So those places you need to move out of water, off the beach, stay away from harbors, marinas, the breakwaters, bays, and inlets. And just really important that you're alert in these areas. So I am waiting specifically for observations. They will tell us when they get them, observations of how high these waves are when they reach the coastline. We do not have that information yet. So stand by with us, but we do know it's confirmed it was a magnitude 7.3 earthquake that was 12 miles deep that is responsible for generating this tsunami.
And we're also working on some information about the number of aftershocks that we have been seeing in the area, because there have been a number that, like one just recently at about 210, 5.2. That's according to the USGS. And Alaskans, we've experienced these, but 5.2 is quite strong. I'm going to switch over so I can, Melissa's wanting me to get a map up. I apologize, but I have to switch over to a different computer to do that.
And so again, the largest aftershock we've seen so far is a magnitude 5.2. That happened here just in about the past 20 minutes. So we are still feeling that shaking. The tsunami can often oversee the impacts of the earthquake itself. For those communities that are still feeling the shaking, the normal earthquake procedure and plan is what you want to follow. Again, you stop, you drop, you cover, and you hold on and you wait for that shaking to stop. That is really important. And it is tough when you have aftershocks like this and the shaking that just feels like it's nonstop. People want to evacuate, they want to run, they want to get out of their structure, but we do not see very many impacts from any problems with the structure itself. That is a myth, a common misconception that your structure is at risk of collapsing. Here in Alaska, fortunately, most of our structures are pretty strong and are built for this. So really what you need to do is just to drop, cover, and hold on. If you have a table, something sturdy to get under where you are near, that is what you need to do. But when we see people running out the door, that is when you're at risk of having injuries, whether from something falling, from you tripping or falling into something. So it's a scary situation, and we have that fight or flight response that kicks in. But just stop, cover, hold on, wait for that shaking to stop. It will stop, even though it feels like an eternity. Generally, the shaking actually does stop pretty quickly. So do just continue to remember what you practice all the time in Alaska when it comes to earthquake safety. Get to a safe place and wait. The good news is we're not expecting any sort of widespread inundation, so there's no risk that you need to get out of your home, as long as you're not right there on the coast. If you're in a cabin or something on the beach right on the coastline, then get to higher ground. But everyone else in town will continue to be just fine where you are. So focus on being safe from those earthquakes. And those of you along the coastline in the harbors, that's where you need to be focused on being safe from the tsunami advisory and those tsunami waves. So two different situations happening at the same time. We know those tsunami waves, of course, they're generated because of the earthquake. We have had some questions here. Is there a threat of the aftershocks causing an additional tsunami threat? Generally,
the
not
aftershock.
likely. I'm not going to say it's not possible. Really, it doesn't matter if it's an aftershock, a foreshock, or the main shock. What matters is the size and the location of the earthquake. So should there be an aftershock that is another magnitude 7.0 or greater earthquake in the right spot, yes, certainly that can happen, and that can create tsunami waves. That is not what we're seeing happening right now. All of these aftershocks are small enough that we are not concerned for additional tsunami waves to be created. We do have the map up now for you of the aftershocks that have occurred. Everything there in red shows you the most recent. You can see the largest one in orange. That is the magnitude 7.3, but the most recent aftershock that is notable is the magnitude 5.2. That was 97 kilometers, about 50 miles southeast of Sand Point. You are likely still feeling some shaking from that in those communities. So again, continue to monitor local conditions where you are. Stay off the beach, and we are monitoring the situation very closely. to see how conditions are going. So again, a tsunami advisory is still in effect, but we are not expecting that big widespread inundating wave water to extend into the communities. So that is a good thing.
That's better, way better news.
Advisory in effect, but no other larger earthquakes beyond the magnitude 5.2. There was just a second magnitude 5.2 aftershock that has come in. So these are coming in rapidly, and they will continue to do so until the ground stops shaking, which aftershocks from an earthquake this large will continue for months. We saw that with the 7.1 that we had in Anchorage back in 2018. Those aftershocks can continue for months. I do want to show you a breakdown of the aftershocks that we have seen so far. Again, we are just under 2 hours from that initial magnitude 7.3 quake. We have now seen 4 magnitude 3.0 to 3.9 aftershocks. We've seen 5, 4.0 to 4.9, and 1 that have been larger than 5.0. We have not seen any magnitude 6.0 or larger, but again, this is an evolving situation. And what happens is seismologists with the Alaska Earthquake Center, they will monitor and review each one of those aftershocks to determine its precise location, how it is connected to the main shock, and the impacts there. We have a large subduction zone that is right on the edge of our coast. And as that North American plate, the Pacific plate goes underneath the North American plate, that is where we get that friction. And so this is a common situation. Seismologists with the Alaska Earthquake Center will tell you, yep, this is pretty standard for what we would expect here in Alaska. This is not unusual. This is right where they would expect those earthquakes to be. This is a size that we do expect them to be at. So that part's not unusual. It doesn't mean that the threat from them or the impacts change any further. So again, we see hundreds of earthquakes every day in Alaska. Obviously, we don't see magnitude 7.0 or larger quakes every day in Alaska, but they're certainly not uncommon for us. And that's why we do the preparations that we do. That's why we practice these drills. Now is the time to respond to them.
And there were just a couple of years ago, we did have a series of very strong earthquakes in this same area.
Yes.
As I said earlier, I do have friends that live in Sandpoint. And so I remember quite distinctly when they were going through the series, there was another 7+ earthquake in that area. So this does happen. Does it make it any easier? Does it make it any more comfortable? It's concerning, and it is it's just hard to live through, as we all know. So we do see those aftershocks coming through, and very likely with an earthquake like this, you will see aftershocks continuing through the area for months, if not the next year. When you see these strong, those
Thank
will
you,
be
Kim.
evaluated to see if they are considered aftershocks of that earthquake, as we're seeing here. So we do original earthquake 7.3, that was at 12:37 this morning. And since then, we have been seeing these aftershocks. That most recent one is that 5.2 that happened at about 2:10 this afternoon. So we do want to let everybody know that while it has been downgraded from a tsunami warning to a tsunami advisory, the danger has not passed. We are still considered to be under this advisory. The buoys have measured an actual tsunami. We don't know the specific height of it at this point. We're continuing to see, to get more information about that. But so far, we are continuing to just monitor the situation, and we will hopefully get some more information here from the Tsunami Warning Center, and also just kind of keeping everybody up to date.
We're kind of like on a wait and see.
It has been downgraded to an advisory, but we've spoken before that we are not completely out of the danger zone.
Just about 5 seconds here.
Yes.
We're going to join our broadcast audience to stay with us here. Welcome here from Alaska's news source. We are following a tsunami advisory here. You may have been with us through our streaming channels online, but want to let you know the latest information. There is still tsunami advisory in effect. This is still in effect from northeast of Unalaska through Kodiak. Those communities need to stay off the beach, away from the harbor, off that immediate coastline. But as we reported earlier, the tsunami warning has has been downgraded. So that means there is still a threat, but it is not as serious as it was about 30 minutes ago. So improving conditions.
Right. We don't expect tsunami and seawater to inundate the towns and to go much beyond the harbors, but beaches, harbors, anywhere near the ocean still at risk, in particular because, as we've been talking about a lot this afternoon, is that a tsunami is not a single wave. We have this image that we often see about the size of a tsunami, but it's a series of waves that come through. And it also messes with the water in your area. So currents where you're not expecting them, and people that are really familiar with the water think, oh, I know this area. You might be in an area that now is being impacted by the tsunami. So that's why we want to be extra cautious, because in particular, where we're talking about, we're looking at areas in Southwest Alaska, and these are in majority fishing communities, a lot of people with boats in these areas. So we want to be really cautious while we're under this advisory.
Yeah, so again, if you're in the beach, the immediate coastline, that is where you need to move to higher ground. If you're in town, you are safe where you are. Again, if you're not along that immediate coastline, for these areas that are highlighted in orange on this map, closer to the epicenter of that magnitude 7.3 earthquake. But with that said, we're still feeling the shaking. The aftershocks continue. We just saw a magnitude 5.0 earthquake that happened just in about the past 25 minutes. We're updating this information live and in real time, but you can see the list of aftershocks there now, 2 that have been larger than a magnitude 5.0. So it is really important that you're still safe from the earthquakes themselves, still continue to drop, to cover, and to hold on. Make sure that you're safe from that shaking, while at the same time, make sure that you're off the beaches and away from those harbors, because that's where the impacts from those tsunami waves are. Again, there's no question about whether or not a tsunami has been generated. We know those waves have been generated, and because of that information, we know that they are not large waves. So we are not expecting a widespread inundating wave that will impact these communities, but we are still expecting the waves to move in. And as Tracy mentioned, we see very erratic conditions with this water. You see quick changing tidal situations. You see, just differences in the water than what you're used to. Strong currents can be created, especially in those bays and harbors. So that's why we say just stay off the beach until all of this water can settle down. And the Tsunami Warning Center in Palmer, they are still monitoring every single wave, every buoy measurement to really determine when that water has settled down, and that's when they will remove the advisory.
And one of the questions that we got asked online earlier is, could an aftershock create additional tsunami? And technically possible, but unlikely.
Right. So it only matters the size and location of the earthquake. So it doesn't really matter if it's an aftershock, main shock, foreshock. That's irrelevant. It's just how big is it and where is it? It's unlikely at this point to see another magnitude 7.0 or greater, but it's possible. There could be a completely separate event that's not even related to this that could create a tsunami. That can happen at any time in Alaska. So these magnitude 4 and 5 aftershocks, though, they're not large enough to create a tsunami. So as you can see on this map here, all of these little points, these red and orange dots, these are aftershocks that have now happened since that main shock there, but these are not large enough that they would create a tsunami concern. So good news there. Don't worry about that right now.
Right. And as you look at that map, it is those areas that are in red, those are the most recent aftershocks, and the size of the dot indicates how big it is. So there is that big initial earthquake that was at 12:37 this afternoon, and since then we have had those continuing aftershocks that have moved through the area, and we are getting reports that people are they're still feeling the earth kind of shaking in that area. And as living through the 7.2 earthquake here in Anchorage, I think 6 years ago now, it was terrifying. And so I know that then when you feel the aftershocks, you think we're going to experience another earthquake that size. It's very difficult. So hopefully we can give you a little comfort that it looks like the tsunami danger has been lowered. And so we are looking at still a possibility, but mainly we're dealing with things that are along the coastline.
And we do have an aftershock forecast now. So this is based on historical data of earthquakes of this size in this location. There's only a 7% chance that we would see a magnitude 7.0 or larger aftershock from this earthquake. That is a low chance, but there is a chance, and that is within the next week. There is still a 41% chance that we could see a magnitude 6.0 or larger earthquake, and an 89% chance that we'll see additional 5.0 or larger aftershocks from this. Now, this is a maybe more surprising statistic. There is a greater than 99% chance that we will continue to see magnitude 4.0 and larger aftershocks continuing over the next week. Those are large enough to feel. So unfortunately, for those of you that felt the big one, the 7.3, you're likely going to continue, especially closer to Sandpoint and Cold Bay. You're going to continue to feel the shaking. And gosh, that is unnerving after you've gone through a magnitude 7.3. You don't want to feel any shaking at that point. You want that ground to be stable. So just remember what you've practiced. You do practice this all the time. We'll pull up that forecast for you again of what the anticipation is, just so that you're not caught off guard and you are anticipating these aftershocks. You drop, you cover, and you hold on no matter the size of the shaking. Do not wait to determine, is this big enough to respond to? Just respond at this point. Then you don't have to worry about whether you are safe or not. So two different concerns at the same time. One is from the shaking and the injuries that can happen from earthquakes, and the other is from the tsunami threat. Good news is the tsunami threat is only for the coastline, for those harbors and for the beach. That's the area you need to stay away from. Again, the Kenai Peninsula, Anchorage is not under any threat from this. So no concerns there. If you're fishing the Kenai, if you're down in Soldotna, out on the water, no problem. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're in Sandpoint, Cold Bay, Kodiak, that's where you need to get out of the water. If you have a boat in the water, that needs to be offshore, because what happens is the water is just moving about and you get those strong currents and you don't want to get damaged there.
And so it's interesting because you said that when you feel the shaking, stop, cover, and hold.
Yes.
And wait till the shaking stops. Again, you don't wait. And that's what we also see with the tsunami warning is you don't wait to see how big it is. When you get those warnings, when you get those advisories, you move now. And we did get a number of people on our Facebook page. It was really great to see that they said, you know, I believe it was King Cove. We're in King Cove. We're on higher ground. And that's exactly what you need to do. So we really applaud those people that respond that way when you are, when you get the warning. Even as an advisory, you want to, the danger is lowered, but it is not non-existent at this point. And so we want to keep everybody alert. And one of the things that we were talking about is that the reason that it is pretty isolated is because of the depth of the earthquake. It was only about 12 miles deep, so it isn't expected to impact the Pacific Island or the Pacific Ocean much, or areas around Southeast, not expected to cross the Gulf of Alaska.
Yeah, I want to pull up this graphic for you just as an example to show you again. So the earthquake happened here 50 miles south of Sandpoint. The water, where the earthquake happened was 12 miles deep. So there's only 12 miles below the Earth's surface that this happened. So the water on top of that is impacted by the shaking, and that's what creates those waves. Imagine you throw a rock into a pond, and that's going to create that ripple effect that propagates all directions from it. You throw a small rock in a small pond, you're going to have smaller waves. You throw a big rock in a big pond, you're going to have bigger waves. That's just the reality of it. And how deep that earthquake is shows how much mass there was to move, how much earth there was to move to create that water to go up and down. So because it was 12 miles deep, after looking at how the water responded to that, scientists at the Tsunami Warning Center were able to say, yes, we've seen a wave, it's been generated, but fortunately it was small enough that it is not going to cause widespread inundation into these communities, something that we do always watch out for when we have an earthquake of this size in the area that's over the ocean. So also just want to point out, it's the Pacific facing areas that do need to be at concern just of where that water is going to go.
Yeah, so when you see the map, it's sometimes a little confusing, I think, because you do see some on the Bering Sea side, but that is because of the way it is designed as a zone.
Right.
And so it puts the whole zone in there, even if the half of the zone is not involved in it. And I think that's also why Homer was originally lit up and parts of the Kenai Peninsula were lit up, was because we were into the zone.
And this can be so frustrating. We have seen this a number of times here in Alaska, that you get that scary sound on your phone. You see the alerts going on your television, your radio, and you're not sure if it is for you. That's why we're here. We're here to let you know who needs to pay attention and who doesn't. So again, anyone on the Kenai Peninsula, Anchorage, you may have gotten the alert. Doesn't matter. You are not at risk. And it's just because of how they send out those signals. That technology will get better. There will be a day, hopefully, that we even get a warning before the earthquake happens here in Alaska, but that time's not yet, not here yet. The fact that we get the warning on our phone, that's progress from how it was decades ago, but it still requires you to look at the information or to tune in and really find out, does this matter to me? Before and if you're in a tsunami zone. If you're in a tsunami zone and you feel shaking, you don't need to wait for a warning. You don't need to wait for anyone to tell you to get to higher ground. You get your own natural warning from the shaking.
Right. And I was around about 5 people, or the group that I was around, about 5 phones went off. And it was quite startling. My first thought, because it is an alarm alert. Yes. And my first thought was, what's happened? And I turned because my phone did not go off. And I turned to the person and I'm like, what is it? And she showed me tsunami warning. And I instantly knew that we had to get over here and jump on the air, because it is a frightening sound.
Scary.
And so when you don't know if it impacts you, it is quite scary, but we do have much more information now.
Yeah, and I do want to just mention, while we're here letting you know the current situation with the tsunami advisory and with the latest aftershocks, we have a team of reporters that are reaching out to all of the communities that are impacted there. If you have damage in your community, call the newsroom, let us know. But they've reached out to local officials. We've heard from Senator Sullivan that he's monitoring the situation very closely, along with a lot of local officials as well. So we will continue to bring that information as it comes in. If we hear of any damage, any impacts, any injuries from this, just from the earthquake itself, we will continue to bring you that information right here on Alaska's news source. But right now, the main concern, we got to get through this tsunami advisory. That's the main concern, as we again are not expecting a widespread inundating tsunami, not the big
we're waiting.
But those local impacts can be sneaky sometimes. You might be wanting to go down to the beach and see what this wave looks like, and it comes in and gets you before you realize what's happening. So that's what we don't want to have happen. Just stay safe, stay off the beach, make sure that you're out of the harbor, and then once they tell us that the water's settled down, we'll let you know and we'll go right back to normal.
Right. Yeah, I think that the movies have depicted tsunamis as one giant wave that comes over, and that's not what this looks like. And in this case, from what we've been able to deduce, that the buoys haven't measured a huge wave. They have measured a tsunami. They have measured a change in that wave, a building of that wave. So just kind of be prepared for that. But it is not a huge wave, which is why it's an advisory. But also it is a series of waves. And it pushes through and it messes with the water and the environment and brings debris in where you're not expecting it to be. And that's that's where some of your risk comes from.
Yeah, we weren't even expecting those first waves to reach Kodiak until 2:40. So it is now 2:44. 2:40 is when the forecast was for the first waves to reach Kodiak. We are not at that time yet, so we are still waiting to see those waves make their way to Kodiak. If you're in Kodiak and go, gosh, this happened at 12:30, it's now been 2 hours and I'm not seeing anything happening here in Kodiak, that wasn't expected to happen until about 2:40. So still waiting on those times. Again, here is when they were anticipating that first activity to begin in various communities. Sandpoint was first because you're the closest to the earthquake, only 50 miles from the epicenter. So that was expected to start around 1:30, Cold Bay 2:25, and then Kodiak at 2:40. So we're just beginning to see, again, potential impacts moving into those communities. The Tsunami Warning Center, they are watching, and it looks like it was just cleared. We just had the all clear.
Yes.
There is no longer a tsunami advisory or warning in effect. So the threat from a tsunami has just been cleared. Even if you are neighboring coast.
Cleared, all cleared.
No longer a threat to those coastlines. Your local officials will determine when and how it is safe to return to your homes had you still been evacuated.
Thank God.
Continue to listen to them for the latest guidance. They will point you in the right direction there. But again, we are seeing no tsunami warning or advisory in effect any longer for any communities in the state of Alaska, anywhere in the world right now. I can tell you that we don't have any impacts from any tsunamis.
Great news,
all clear
folks.
Has been given from
All
the
clear
Tsunami
has
Center.
been given.
We are getting in now observation. Sandpoint, Alaska did experience just at 2:10 a observed tsunami height of
They got lucky.
0.2 of a foot. So that sounds relatively small, but the impacts of that much additional water in a harbor can be significant.
Right.
So you go, oh, it's not this big, huge 6-foot wave. It's was only 0.2 of a foot, which is what they were anticipating. So that has come and gone. So good news there. They're saying, please do not reoccupy those hazard zones, even though the advisory has been canceled until local emergency officials indicate that it is safe to do so. We do know a tsunami was generated by this event, but no longer poses a threat. Some areas will continue to see small sea level changes. So you're still going to see some of those currents, some of that erratic behavior from the water. That determined to reoccupy any of those hazard zones, those will be made by your local officials. But we do know from the Tsunami Warning Center, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, which is based right here in Palmer, Alaska, that a tsunami was generated. It reached Sandpoint, and they are no longer expecting any threats from those waves. So again, the main impacts that you'll continue to see at this point are just from the aftershocks that are likely to continue. Again, we know we've already seen 2 magnitude 5.0, not seeing any larger than that, but that's still potential. So you feel the shaking, drop, cover, hold on, and those will continue to weaken over time.
And we will, as Melissa mentioned earlier, we do have our team is contacting the different communities, finding out what they felt, what they saw, what was going on in their communities, and we'll bring that to you tonight, of course, on our newscast and coming back here live if the situation warrants it. We want to thank you all for sticking with us. We really appreciate it.
And just a reminder that even though your day was likely impacted if you were in one of these communities, not how you expected your Wednesday to go, just use this as a reminder that you got a really real life opportunity for a real life drill. And just because we didn't see that inundating tsunami in your community doesn't mean that that threat wasn't possible. Right. They thought that it was certainly possible when those sirens went off. So it's really important that next time it happens, you don't base it off of this situation that we just had. Next time it happens, whole new situation. It will happen again, and there's still always that potential for widespread inundating and deadly tsunamis. So just always pay close attention. That's why we practice here in Alaska, but so glad that that is not the situation today.
Right.
All right, we're going to take you back here, close this out. Oh, thank God, right? Thank God that, the threat is still there. You know there's going to be an earthquake again somewhere. So, but it's good news that this didn't draw in this particular case here, it did not draw a tsunami that reached Anchorage. They talked about Anchorage years ago. But this feed here earlier was shaking. There's footage out there that was shaking. So they felt the earthquake here too. You also got to keep in mind with aftershocks. However, they say the chances are very like 7% or so for an equal aftershock. They said there was a 5.0 aftershock, but at least the tsunami warning is over. And I don't see any footage out there of any major structural damage, which is another good news, right? Now, if this was a 7.3 in the United States somewhere, we would probably be seeing some heavy damage. This one came off the coast, right? Sandpoint off the coast. But what a sign of relief. So we'll leave it at that, folks, and we'll just stay vigilant. And if anything else breaks about earthquakes or anything going on, you'll hear it here on JLR Investigates, considering the crazy weather that has been happening all across the country. But look at the sky there. Look at the sky there. Beautiful Alaska. This is a place where I want to actually go visit one day. But I definitely don't want to be on the coastline if they get a tsunami, for sure. JLR investigates. Magnolia investigates. Sandpoint, Alaska, 7.3 earthquake. I'm on the USGS site. Just browsing through. Happened off the coastline here. Kodiak Island, all that area. Cook Inlet. Pretty safe. Seems like it's going to be safe for now. Thank God. See if I can get any more alerts here. Let's see, but that looks like a beautiful, beautiful area. All right, folks, we're going to sign off for now. You hear things first on JLR Investigates. I'll keep you informed if anything else breaks. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Be mindful of the earthquakes and tsunamis. Have a good day, everyone. We'll talk soon.